Hey guys, it's Patriot Gal here today. Hey, you know, on the homestead, you can never have enough water. If you're tired of dragging hoses everywhere and you like to have water where you need it, today I've got the solution for you. So the answer to your problem, guys, is to build a water manifold. And you want to build it near an existing water source. So from there, you can pipe water to various locations on your property inexpensively, and you can build almost an infinite supply of additional manifolds at these locations. So here's my existing water system, and let me just show you a few things. So you've got multiple valves here, and you can see that I've got 6 valves. And each one of these can be directed to a different watering area on my property. So you can mount timers on these, and if you look at some of my older videos on the subject, you'll be able to see how I had that rigged up. I'll put a link in the show notes to the timers that I use and love. They're fantastic. So if you need water at other locations, what you can do is just maybe leave one of these valves, maybe this one on the end, open without a timer or a watering system on it, and you get yourself some 1/2-inch mainline tubing and a connector, and you'll simply run that tubing to wherever you want your other manifold. So you can, you know, like in my case, I could take one up to my driveway where we wash the cars, make another one of these, and have, you know, 3 or 4 valves up by the driveway to wash the cars. I can run one to my rabbit cleaning station where I butcher the rabbits. You always need water over there. And I think I'll probably do that this year. So what I've done here is I built this system, and it's with just 1/2-inch PVC. I've mounted it. You can see that it's tied to 2 T-posts that are driven in the ground, and they're cheap. You don't have to have a fence. You can just drive 2 T-posts in the ground, mount yourself a piece of wood, just, you know, so that you can secure it, and then you just secure it down with these 1/2-inch electrical conduit clamps. And I just had a bucket of these laying around, so they're rusty, but they work great, and just some grabber screws. So that's how we did it, and it just makes for a really secure watering system. Now the great thing about this system is that you can just leave your main water source on. If you look here, I've got this lift gate here, this I think they call it an irrigation faucet. Anyway, you can just lift this up, and I attach it from here to here with a high pressure washing machine hose. And if you realize how your washing machine works, that hose is under pressure all the time. Those valves are always on to your washer, and very rarely do you see one of those ruptures. It happens from time to time, but they're pretty darn indestructible, and so that's what I use. That allows us to leave this on all the time and control any water manually with these valves. Now we put timers on these, but you know, if you spring a leak and you want to be able to just shut one water source off, this system allows you to do that. So this manifold system has been set up for several years now and needs to be rebuilt. You can see that this valve here is leaking, and that's going to be today's project. So let's get going on it. So I've made a couple of modifications to my original design, and let me tell you about those really quick and why I did it. So the first thing is, these valves that I use, they're slip-on valves. You can see that they just slip onto the PVC pipe and are glued on. I'm replacing my setup with threaded valves. That way, if one of these valves goes bad, I can simply unthread it and replace the valve. The valve is the most expensive part of the setup, and so it's important that you can just replace one and not have to rebuild your whole system, which is the position I am in now. The other modification that I've made is that I want more space between the valves. So I'm going to double the space of this section here, so that if I do have to, say we developed a leak here, if I had to, you know, cut this piece out, I would still have enough left to be able to reattach it. So I'm just putting more space. I'm also putting more space in between the valves here, so that if I have to cut a section out, there's plenty of material to work with. The other thing, and the last thing that I'm going to do, is once I get the whole thing assembled, I'm going to paint it with some white plastic safe paint, and that is simply to cut down on the UV rays. UV rays deteriorate PVC rather quickly, and this particular manifold always faces west, and it's definitely shown some signs of fatigue, so I think that'll help it last longer, and so that's my plan. So let's get up to the area where I'm putting this together, and I'll show you what you need.